Right, here we are. The next track on the album. The next track on the album is called Brown Bread, and it's called Brown Bread because brown bread means you're dead, or something like that. This song is all about siblings and looking after siblings, especially the younger ones. Specifically, my own brother. When people used to mess around with him when he was younger, you know, a lad would steal his bike or give him a slap, but then I would go after the lad and try to find the fella, you know, or whatever. So it's kind of all about that, looking after your younger siblings. And the last verse is a really funny one. It's just a litany of like tomfoolery that I would have got up to as a young fella.
The smashing.
Yeah, or watch or saw people do who are friends. Like someone getting angry, like a lad called Justin Ryan from Dublin. Got rejected from a nightclub, or something happened in a nightclub that didn't go well. The bouncers weren't happy with him, so to take his anger out in the nightclub, he went in and smashed the hand dryer off the walls. Just kicked it, fly kicked it, classic. And then another time, smashing wing mirrors off a car for some reason. That made sense. Throwing bottles of Miller beer bottles at cars that were driving. I distinctly remember that. I've been chased big time for that. And the UV markers. Pat used to do that when he was in Donegal.
Yeah. You rub the hand against the other hand and you can get in, and away you go.
Because in Bondi nightclub in Stillorgan in Dublin, you had to be 18 to get in, and we all weren't 18, we were young fellas. We found out what the logo was, but they did it with a UV marker. So we used to go to the Leisureplex, which isn't there anymore, in Stillorgan, and put our wrists underneath the UV lights on the airsoft table, or whatever they're called. Was it foosball?
The air hockey.
Air hockey table. And underneath that, you'd be able to see the kind of UV marker. Anyway, so that was the crack, and then we get the stamp drawn on ourselves. Brian McGovern used to do that, and then we'd get into the nightclub for free then, and all the tomfoolery would happen. And the drink of choice back then was the Fat Frog. Fat Frogs were class. It was like 3 alcohol pops poured into a pint, and this is how mad it was. We used to steal other people's drinks. So in the smoker section of Bondi, people would leave their drinks in cubbies and go out and have a cigarette. We would go to the cubbies and just take the drinks. Like when you think about it, like all those drinks could have drugs in them, all sorts of drugs. Do you know what I mean? And we just took them, didn't even think twice.
If you were lucky, yeah.
Yeah, and you would be just lashing into people's pints. Scumbag central that was in South County Dublin, you know. What about the music, Pat? What's the crack with the music? What do you think of it now?
I love it. I mean, it's just a fun one, and
what about live? Does it work live?
I would say so. Yeah, absolutely. Anto had a big hand in writing the lyrics, right?
No, he wrote names and addresses, but he was the inspiration for all the things that happened, like this bit where I'm sitting in a hedge looking out for this fella. That's a true story of me sitting in a hedge for 4 hours or 5 hours waiting for a lad to come out of a housing estate who I knew he was in there, but he never came out.
And you smash him into an ESB lamppost.
Eventually I found him.
ESB is the electrical service?
Yeah. The electrical supply board. And not right, Jambo. And I saw him coming up Johnstown Road on his bike, the lad who I was after. I don't know what he did to my brother. I think he knocked him in or put him a black eye or something. But I saw this lad cycling up Johnstown Road, and I was coming up Pottery Road, and I just cycled straight into him, top speed, slammed him into a lamppost, and he was none too impressed. He avoided me for years after that. But you know, this is what you do when you're young fellas. Do you know what I mean? You're looking out for your siblings, and you feel incumbent to do these things, and you feel somehow neglectful if you don't. Maybe it's a machismo thing, I don't know.
Well, yeah, if the lads come to you and say, hey, we got to go beat this dude's ass, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Be done.
You didn't need much of a reason, unfortunately.
Nah, they didn't have to twist your arm too hard, I suppose.
Yeah. What's another thing about this tune? The intro is lovely. The intro is a combination of a few different ideas. It's a combination of Thin Lizzy's Emerald, the Rocky Road to Dublin, and there's something else in there, but I can't remember. That's what the intro is supposed to imitate. It's imitating those kind of lovely tunes, and then the thump in the verse. That's supposed to imitate, I don't know, probably maybe the scratch or the Mero, the Pete St. John song. It's imitating that, maybe. I don't know. They're not copying it, but it's definitely like heavily influenced, consciously influenced. Yeah. So that's Brown Bread. Enjoy.